It's the Cannon Cruisers. I'm JD.
And I'm Randy looking at his phone.
And we're about to talk to you
about the 1984 classic action film directed by Joseph Zito, starring Chuck Norris. Jinx, you owe me a beer.
First. Missing in
Action. The sequel to the prequel.
Yes, that's a story for later on. But for now, we'll talk to you about the original movie released in 1984. Chuck Norris's debut performance with Cannon Films.
So what we watched today was a very serious drama that dealt with the repercussions of the Vietnam War, and it stars Chuck Norris as Colonel Braddock, a former prisoner of war suffering from severe post-traumatic stress disorder, and his return to Vietnam to confront his abusers and captives.
And confront them he does.
And also he goes out and kills a bunch of them and saves more POWs, and that's the story.
Oh, is it ever the story?
Yeah, it's like, in all seriousness, this movie is very much about what I said it is, but it's also an action film.
Oh, it's good. It's very action-packed. It's very thrilling. It's very well acted, very well directed. It's
off mic. I commented that Chuck Norris is the thinking man's action star, because he has a slight modicum of acting ability. Mm-hmm. Maybe not as much as Charles Bronson, but he does have that modicum of acting ability.
It's the charisma of the man that is basically a force of nature. There's a reason there's so many Chuck Norris jokes, let's put it that way. So let's go straight into impressions, Randy. What do you think about Missing in Action?
That was okay.
I thought it was amazing. Okay.
I'm not blown away by it. I can see it's very much what it was going for, and it's I can see where this is a good build up for his career.
Oh yeah.
It's not the over the top action that eventually his stuff would get to be. But it was a very strong movie. It was a very serious movie. It wasn't what I was expecting.
Very serious, a lot of good action sequences. There's a few action movies, especially from Cannon, that I think are as strong as this one is.
And it's one of the few movies that didn't look... We watch a lot of Cannon movies.
Yeah, we do.
I sometimes think we watch too much Cannon movies.
Well, we do, actually.
This is one of the ones where I watched it and back of my brain kept going, man, the budget on this movie looks really low.
No, it felt very much of a movie from a normal studio at this time.
Yeah, every cent they had, they poured into this movie that it worked for what it is. It's like I said, I did like the movie. It's okay. Budget-wise, though, because I'm going to be that person today, it was a $1.5 million budget for this film.
In 1984 money.
In 1984 money, which is fairly low for a Cannon film still, but it didn't look it. It didn't have the issue I have with some of the other movies that look like they're made for TV movies.
Which is a strange way, considering the way this movie was produced. This was produced basically as a two-parter movie by Cannon Films, starring Chuck Norris as Colonel James Braddock. The first film, he's in Vietnam, he escapes from Vietnam, and the sequel, he returns and saves those he left behind. What ended up happening was the sequel was so much better than the original. It tested better, looked better.
And that's why I've called this one the sequel to the prequel.
It is basically the sequel to the prequel. That's the reason the sequel, Missing in Action 2, has the subtitle Beginning, because it is the beginning. It's the first movie.
I always love that really dumb cliche of movie title 2, The Beginning. Movie title 2, The Revenge.
Yes, this one falls very much in line with that. However, I think they were smart to release this one first because it really pulls you in.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's very much off the bat, it's almost this taut political thriller until it's not. Until he starts killing people.
Oh, man.
It's funny. I'm not laughing because it's oh no, he's killing people. It's just no, it's here's a hurt man. Here's a man who just suffering from being a prisoner for 7 years, had escaped, left his men behind.
And he has the chance to get them back.
And his going back to Vietnam to testify on his behalf about the fact that there's prison camps that they're denying.
Mm-hmm.
And they're painting him as a criminal.
Yes, and he works his way through Vietnam to find find what he lost, basically. Which is his men, and he finds them, and boy, does he blow stuff up real well. So what did you think for highlights, Randy? What were your highlights of this film?
There's no Well, actually, yeah. There's like I find that I would say this a lot, but I like near the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. After that moment where it takes a step back from being this political thriller, he ninjas his way across like a hotel into the room of the opposing colonel from Vietnam.
He stealths his way across.
I'm ninjaing as a verb here, and it's just the way that's shot, the lighting at night,
Very millennial of you.
Everything that's very much like the framing of it was very well done. Yes, it's like. The other action is kind of like boilerplate, like this. Okay, yeah, it's like, oh, he's shooting a gun without looking. Oh, but this looked cool.
Mm-hmm. It was very good stealth action.
Yeah,
it was. Considering we watched so many ninja movies so far, there was times where we were almost like, wait a second, are we watching a ninja movie again?
No, you were like that, but I was like, no, I think they reused a set from the first ninja movie.
Enter the Ninja. Yeah, my highlight is. Everything. Sorry, but I really like this movie. If I had to pick one scene, it would probably be the scene where he raids the camp while explosions are going off and distracting the guards, and he frees people who are not his prisoners of war, but other prisoners of war.
Yeah, rebels.
Rebels.
He frees rebels of the rebelling against the
It just
People's
really
Republic
nails in the type of guy James Braddock is, that he is a good guy, and he's doing this not just for his own reasons, but to save people. It was a nice touch. I really liked that part, which would roll us into lowlights. You probably have a better time of this than I would.
I found a little bit of pacing. It's like you're against this with me, but I found it a little bit slow. Mm-hmm. Might have just been that we've seen a lot of action movies recently, but it just doesn't feel like the action movie is there, but it's, as I said, it's boilerplate action. It's like, oh hey, here's a car chase with not a lot of going on, like not complicated choreography, nothing. Oh, he blew up a bunch of things. Okay, it looks kind of cool, but it's not overly complicated. Yeah, I was rooting more. I was really rooting more a lot of times just for the story as opposed to the actual action in the film. It's the pacing and the action is not what I was expecting. It's like I said, this movie was more serious than I was expecting.
It's
so I guess the low light would have to be pacing, and some of the action wasn't just as much as what I thought it was going to be.
I have a harder time with low lights because, as I said, I really, really like this movie.
Yeah, he has a bias because he's seen this movie before, owns this movie, loves this movie.
Well, yeah, but I can still look at it objectively. Like I said, I agree with you that some of the action sequences are a little, could have been more involved, I think is the word.
Yes, but if I had been seeing this without having seen a bunch of other action movies recently, do you think my mind would be different? What do you think I'd be like more blown away by it?
I think you probably wouldn't be looking for a lot of the stuff you're looking for because we've seen so many of these.
But darn it, my other low point, in joke, there was no Lucinda Dickey.
Lucinda Dickey. Spoiler alert, Randy's apparently the fan of the Lucinda Dickey fan club now. Because he keeps looking
No, it's a really weird run where Lucinda Dickey keeps popping up, and I'm like, what else has she done?
Since we're talking about missing in action and basically Chuck Norris's big debut, as a score...
Man, a few words, but he did say something with his actions, but also say something by his actual act. Chuck Norris actually did some acting.
Yes, he's a real force of nature in this movie, and I might get a bit of blowback for this, but my score for this film is a 5 out of 5. I like this movie too much, and everything about it, and I can't pretend to be unbiased. I just like it that much. I have to give it a 5. Sorry.
For anybody playing the cannon drinking game, get your shots ready. I give it a 3.
What a surpriser, and he gives it a 3.
It's an enjoyable film. Like I said, I liked it. It's just, like I said, it's not... It doesn't do anything for me.
That's the way you feel.
It's a fun movie, but it wasn't as fun as I was expecting. Like I said, there's a certain expectation I was having for this one here. It's like one of the first real action movies from the canon one that's not just a ninja movie. It's like, okay, but it was just like, okay, this is a good fine movie. I like it. But I see too much of the cliches that come out of it that I don't know if they were as cliched then.
They were, because it was 1984, but also, as I've seen the movie before, but as it's happened several times...
Is it a better action movie that we've seen, like of a full, proper action movie that we've seen so far? Yes!
Probably.
This is probably the best proper action movie I've seen so far. From all the stuff we watched.
The thing is, I've seen the movie before, but I liked it before, but every time I watch the movie over again, I like it more.
Technically...
That's why I'm giving it a
Technically,
5.
It's a better movie. It's like I said, it's all the technical aspects of the movie is great.
Yes,
it's just like I said, I didn't find it...
This part in canon, I think, about late 84, is when they started to really get it, I think, through 84 through about 86 before they started really messing with the budgets. I think they really hit a groove here. And this is where I think it starts with Missing in Action, because it's not the type of film they were doing before this. And as I said, I don't really know how to say it any better than this, but I really like this movie a lot. And for that, I have to give it the best score I've given a film so far, without question. And with that, we have one more film left for you for the season. And it's a humdinger.
Yes. But before we tell you, just a reminder, it's like the season actually was going to be a little bit longer, but there's a bunch of episodes that we couldn't make because we couldn't get our hands on the things. Mm-hmm. So there's a chance that we will come back if we can find them, and we'll do them again. But at the same time, we both looked at the ones we missed and went, maybe, these would have been different tastes to what we've watched so far.
I don't think it would.
But I don't think we're missing much in the oeuvre of.
I don't think it would have been that interesting to talk about the stuff we missed, more or less.
But leaving that, but it's like this is also where some of your bias comes in me. It's like I kind of like some of the movies, the types of movies that we missed. Like there's some of them are some serious dramedies. I wouldn't have
minded watching them and talking about them. I'm just saying I don't think for the podcast it would have been that interesting to talk about them on here.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's like we're trying to give it as comprehensive of a look at canon.
Yeah.
It's just that it's been hard to do so because I think these movies are the ones that are forgotten, are best left forgotten.
I think canon only really started to come in with, as we said, I think I mentioned on past podcasts with the original Enter the Ninja, which is the first movie that really gave them any notice. A lot of their early movies that we talked about are not really well known outside of fans and niche cult favorites. Were any of the ones we talked about other than the ninja movies really ever popular? I don't think they were. Maybe Breakin'.
Breakin' is a cult favorite. It is.
That one was successful, but I mean, they don't really have...
And our big humdinger season finale.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Or sorry, this is actually the proper season finale, because what we're doing is our next big film we're watching is... Oh, Lucinda Dickey, My Heart. We're watching Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. And then after that, the actual season finale, which we're going to be doing a season wrap-up, and we're going to be coming back and talking about all the films that we have seen in the context of what we had just watched. And
see how our opinions have changed. Maybe we're going to sit on them, think about them a little bit, and see if anything's changed, if anything's stayed the same.
It's like we may just end the season with Electric Boogaloo, and then we may come back. We are doing a break, but the wrap up might come in the middle of that break, just so that we have time to maybe rewatch a movie on our own time and just decide what we thought.
Yep, and that's going to be it for.
Or we watch a movie with the riff tracks on it. Yeah.
And that's going to be our season 1. So if you're watching this anywhere, be sure to
listening to it. Yeah.
Give us some comments and see how you like the season and see what we can do better or what we did great on this season.
And don't forget that if you're using the SoundCloud app or you're using the SoundCloud website to listen to this, you can comment directly at the point on stuff we are saying.
And with that, that should be it for this episode.
Yep, we are the Canon Cruisers. That's JD. I'm Randy.
He's Randy.
Keep cruising that Canon catalog. I'm waving goodbye.
We'll see you next time, folks.
See you next time.